What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pete's Basement. The real Pete's back, Adam's back, and we have the real Steve to thank for it.
Thank you very much, Steve. That scroll ship was just a fucking nightmare, man. It was
that was easily the weirdest thing we've ever
literally
encountered.
worse than Applebee's.
I mean,
What do you mean there's no shrimp cocktail? This is bullshit. I was made certain assurances.
There's no
shrimp
ketchup on
cocktail
my
was on
french
that
fries.
list. What happened
And
to my
there's no
happy
french
ending?
fries.
And you said there was a girl.
We all mourn the passing of our brother Ramon, who last we heard was somewhere rocketing on the scroll ship in hyperspace. We hope to hear from him soon.
Enjoying ambiguous sex with creatures that aren't quite male, aren't quite female, but simulate the two. What? He said it was his fucking dream come true. You gonna yell at me? I'm saying.
give the man his dream.
Before we started, I just wanted to give a shout out to a few comic stores I had a chance to check out in recent times in the great state of Ohio. I wanted to shout out Big Fun on Coventry and Cleveland, which is not expressly a comic book store, but carries a great back issue selection. It focuses on like stuff from the 80s and 90s. Really good store. It's on Coventry off of Mayfield in Cleveland Heights. If you live out around that way, I highly recommend you check them out. The stuff is real cheap, and they have a great toy selection. And in Toledo, Ohio, which is only 45 minutes outside of Detroit, I would check out JC's Comic Books.
That's the guy you just gave me the eBay card for.
If you could whip that card out.
Actually, it's upstairs because I added him to my eBay sellers.
Well, I can't give you the address then, but I think it's on Reynolds Road in Toledo, Ohio. The store is fucking fantastic. I had a chance to talk to the owner. He's a really great fucking guy. The store is an old school, great comic book store. They carry a huge back selection. It's cluttered. It's dirty. It's messy. It's fucking fantastic. If you're a real collector, it's a fucking heaven on earth. He's got he doesn't have a website, but he's got an eBay site.
And this guy I'm definitely going to be checking out. It's actually JCS-Comics. You can search for him and add him to your favorite eBay sellers. I just did.
Definitely do
it.
Later. The owner's a great fucking guy. He's a real stand-up guy. And Monarch Comics in Toledo can suck my dick, and you can put that on your fucking evening news, man. The owner's a fucking jerk. Followed us around the fucking store. It's a racist asshole. And I hope he catches herpes and his genitals explode from maggots and fire.
You heard it here first, folks. Maggots and fire. What about fiery maggots?
It's just not the same. It's just not the fucking same. It's got to be maggots and then fire.
And then
What if some of the maggots catch on fire?
I'm not opposed to that on principle.
But if they start alone, if they start separate, in the beginning, and then they converge, then it's okay.
I'll go with that. That works. It's nice. It's a nice convergence. On to comic books.
First up this week is Action Comics 867 Brainiac Part 2. This was one of the most awesome Superman books any of us have read. If you missed this, punch yourself in the face and get out to your local comic book shop right now. Pause this episode and go out and pick this up, read it on the way home, and then watch the rest of this episode. Go now.
Go. We'll wait.
Welcome back.
This comic book kicked ass on so many fucking levels, and I owe you guys a great debt of gratitude. I wasn't reading Action Comics. You guys recommended it. Fucking Brainiac's a creepy motherfucker.
Yeah, man.
Like, good shit.
And I think we got to spoil the one surprise in this, because it happened basically in the beginning of the story. Supergirl is telling Superman, at this point, they don't know what happened to Kandor. Apparently we're going with that continuity. Alright, I'm going to accept that, because, it's probably pre-crisis, Bottled City, Kandor, whatever. I don't care. Anyway, it's fucking good. They don't know that Kandor is a bottled city. We're going to figure that out later on in this story arc. You and I know that because we're familiar with Superman. But basically what Supergirl tells him is Brainiac was the most evil, sinister thing to happen to Krypton. Kal-El was a baby. He doesn't remember Brainiac, but Supergirl grew up on Krypton.
And she basically says that you've never met Brainiac. You've only met like proxies for Brainiac. Right. So the build-up is
androids and shit.
The build-up is that Brainiac is possibly the baddest motherfucker who ever was, and they're hinting. No need for a spoiler alert. We already got it up there. Is they're hinting at that he might have been the one who blew up Krypton.
Yeah,
which is dope. Now the artwork, never mind the writing, which is Jeff Johns, and I love his shit. Gary Frank is killing it right now. He's basically drawing Christopher Reeve.
Looks like he stepped out onto a comic book.
And it's a great fucking tribute. And this was probably one of my favorite comics this fucking week.
Guaranteed. Next up on the list was Joker's Asylum #1. This book, this particular book stunk, but it has potential, I think, and I'm going to tell you how it has potential. Well, hear me out first. This is basically
you said that last time, and my asshole hurt for a week.
Yeah,
I remember
not
that.
going
That was
there.
bad. That was a bad fucking week. Couldn't sit, couldn't ride a horse.
I'm afraid.
Right on.
I think this is basically like the Joker starring in his own Tales from the Crypt episode, where he tells you, the reader, about some heinous crime that he has committed. And, you know, with the Joker, you've come to expect a certain level of insanity and blood and gore and really creative death scenes. And you really don't get it at all with this. But I think if they could throw that in, if they just add to this book something about, you know, the Joker killing people in the most creative of ways, and do not include Batman in it, I think this book could probably win.
But here's my point, though, is that, you know, the format's kind of interesting, is doing it like a Tales from the Crypt.
Right.
Right? That's an interesting concept. The artwork isn't great, but it's passable.
Nothing happens though.
That's what
Andy
I'm saying.
Kubert kills the cover, which is why I bought it.
Well,
in
the
the
Andy
first
Kubert
place.
cover is great, and you know the Kubert family are great
Yeah.
fucking artists. The
Sick
interior
Joker.
artwork isn't great.
It really fell short. Yeah.
And I don't feel like they're gonna give this the full fuck. This needs to be like sort of like what Marvel Knights does.
Yes.
Or like the old Max stuff. It needs to be a horrific
Yes,
book.
absolutely.
You know, say what you will about Grant Morrison. When he writes the Joker, he's a scary motherfucker.
Yes.
That's what they need for this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I don't think they're going to deliver.
No, I don't think they're going to deliver.
They put a B-list artist and a B-list writer on this. I feel like this is just a throwaway book. Which
Yeah,
is a shame because it's got potential.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking of I'm sorry.
What do you think?
Were you going to say something about Joker?
Yes.
Good.
What do you think does his hair exactly?
Throw him the fuck out of your house. Throw him out of your house.
I
Throw him
didn't even
out.
have a joke to answer that way.
This is what Water in Queens does to you. This I give you as Exhibit A of what Water in Queens does to you. Middle Finger McGee of Maspeth. I'm gonna go take my pills. I'll be right.
So this one's on you, dude. Go ahead. I didn't read it yet. I was afraid of it, but I picked it up.
Okay, I said I was boycotting the rest of Final Crisis, but I'm a sucker for the old Martian Manhunter character who they've rather unceremoniously fucking whacked. So Final Crisis Requiem is written by Peter Tomasi, who's one of my preferred upcoming writers. And Doug Monkey, whatever the fuck his name is a really good artist. I've been paying attention to him since he worked with Dark Force doing The Mask. And this is pretty much them
Didn't he do a stint on Green Lantern Corps?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
He's a really good artist. He's a really good writer, so I figured I'd give it a shot. And also, you know, it's Martian. This is basically a send-off from Martian Manhunter, and this here
Better than a one-panel death scene, that's for sure.
which is what I'm getting to. You know, this is I've received a lot of shit for defending Secret Invasion versus Final Crisis. This book to me is everything that's wrong with what DC's doing with this crossover. This is the story that should have been in Final Crisis. You know, they made Supergirl's death in, you know, Crisis on Infinite Earths years ago, and Barry Allen's death means something. Got a little bit of gravity. We're invested in the character. They killed Martian Manhunter, who's been around ostensibly for 40 fucking years. Killed him in one panel. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't been reading all the other bullshit storylines around it, you have no idea why.
Why that?
And you have to pick up this book to get any, you know, sense of beginnings or ending with that whole fucking thing. This gave Martian Manhunter a little bit of gravity. You know what I'm saying? Like his death was fucking, you know, powerful. Shows the effects of it. That should have been in the main fucking title, Final Crisis. The fact that they failed to do that and had to put a B book out to do it is a pretty shitty way to organize that. You know, and that's sort of what I've been saying. It's a poorly organized crossover event. It's a very good book. I recommend it because it's a good ending to a really good character that they just never really found a good way to use. But that's pretty much the crowning touch. That's the last Final Crisis book I'm going to pick up.
I'm still going to pick it up. I just want to see where it's going. I don't understand any of it because I'm not familiar with half the characters that they're throwing at me.
Well, that's the problem.
You know, that's the problem. Is right because you have to have knowledge of so many other titles that I just have no clue about.
Yeah, and it's a little bit fucking irritating. And I'm not picking